Welcome back, everyone, to the South End Zone. I am Chad. You see Tyler. It is not a happy day. If you watched any football this weekend, you know that a show that is going to have an LSU guy and a Georgia guy hosting it. It's going to be a rough. It's going to be a rough show, licking our wounds from two ugly, ugly performances. We're going to do a show later on about the LSU Alabama game, but for now, Tyler, what the hell happened in Oxford, man?
Nothing good. Rain,
Yeah.
sadness, them rushing the field on us for whatever fucking reason that might be. I'm sorry, whatever reason that might be. You know what I mean? Like, like it just from the start. Like, I had such high hopes off the rip. It's like 3 plays in, pick, immediate drive, touchdown. We're up
Mhm.
7-0. I'm like, all right, okay. Jackson Dart limps off the field. They bring on the other guy, which nobody else wanted to give me credit that he's like Tua Tagovailoa's clone. He went down to the eye black, like the cross eye black, everything
Yeah.
underneath. He marks us down the field and score. Also, Lane Kiffin,
Yeah, the
Lane
injury
Kiffin,
report.
putting 26 dudes on your injury report, and then be like, oh, actually, they're all playing.
Not only that, but it was like a bunch of dudes that were doubtful
Right?
just are playing.
Yeah, Jordan Watkins.
So let me say this about the Jordan Watkins thing. I heard them talking on the broadcast about how they were talking to the coaches about him, and they were just talking, glowing about what kind of weapon he is and how fast he is and all this other stuff. And then they were talking about how they asked him who the best receiver was on the team or who the fastest receiver. Anyway, and he's like, "It's me." So I'm like, "Wait a second." So y'all as announcers talk to these people, and no one asked why is he doubtful on
yeah,
the
is
injury
he
report?
playing?
Is he playing? Is he hurt? What's going on? See, even the thumbs up agrees with me that that was
Yeah,
BS. So yeah, there was some
stupid.
chicanery. Now, I this is the thing I want you to try to explain to me is Kirby Smart teams in years past, like this is the first time you've lost to someone not Alabama in
Yeah, a long
forever.
time since 2020. Since
So
2020.
what the hell happened? I thought Kirby would have these guys a little more ready to not have to worry about injury reports or
And we
distractions
were
or the
healthy.
rain or any of that stuff.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
why. It came down to our we got whipped up front.
Mm.
Our offensive line did not hold up at all. Like, and we on the inverse, our defensive line and secondary could not do a goddamn thing against Jackson Dart. It doesn't look like that as far as Jackson Dart's stats. Like, I mean, he threw for 199. His backup threw for he had like a 5 and 6, 64-yard drive,
Hmm.
nailed
Hmm.
it. But like, it's a matter of Jackson Dart was always comfortable in the pocket, never had much of an issue, could find his guy, and they were always wide ass open. I said
Hmm.
this at last week's episode. It was going to be a battle of secondaries. Who is going to be able to stop the other one from getting downfield? And it was not us, and that's the most annoying part. Is like in the beginning, like that first drive, we got the dart and we got the ball back. I'm like, okay. We also fumbled four
Hmm.
separate times. And for the first time, probably this season, this was not Carson Beck's fault. Like I know, I heard
Yeah.
that people are not like he actually played one of them like in the pouring down rain on the road in Oxford. Like like it almost reminded me like not as severely, but like there'd be moments where like it would just like I'll be like a mist. You wouldn't be able to see them from like the TV
Hmm.
screen. Like the fact that like he had one pick and it wasn't his fault. He was literally throwing like as he was like getting tossed down, like it just
Yeah.
ended up in the wrong hands. But like throughout I would say he throughout the entire game, he was deliberate with the ball. He hit guys that had a guy on them. He threw it to the right person.
Mm. Yeah.
He actually threw it in tight window, but he actually got it to our receivers like in tight windows.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like, but he looked comfortable. Like, apparently, like he's just had like some coming to Jesus time this year. Like when in his interviews, it's like, yeah, I've really had to kind of reinvent the way he thinks about himself, essentially, and like not let the little shit or the big stuff, I should say, even bother
Yeah.
him. Like from that perspective, and then our running game. How can I say it? It's like we lean on it when it's not working, and then we don't go to it when it does.
Mm.
Like I will say, like we did get some traction on the ground, but like once again, the Ole Miss defensive line was honestly too much for our guys. I
Yeah.
think that we might have gotten Tate Ratledge back in there too soon, especially he had the that magical tightrope surgery that some guys have been having over the last couple of
Mhm.
years.
Garrett
And
Dellinger for LSU just had it. He's
and
hopefully going to be
and
ready for
I
the
think
field.
like trying to get your footing against a crazy defensive line
Yeah.
in the rain with
In the rain.
in the
Yeah.
rain with possibly only one good angle as an
Yeah.
offensive guard is not really the most ideal situation in the world,
Hmm.
especially with Ivy. And guess what? Pegues still saw him in our backfield. One of
Yeah.
the guys
Right.
who was listed as like,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Princely Amumley Ellen and
yeah,
Walter Nolan. Like I try to tell you that they're not a joke. They're no
no,
joke. LSU held up well against them. But so this is the thing that's crazy to me, Tyler. Like we've talked about this since week 1, week 2, week 3. It just keeps becoming
I was
this
a
like
hater. I was a hater.
consistent. No, but so I'm talking about like this persistent refrain of I don't know what the hell to think about this college football season.
No, me neither.
Like we beat Ole Miss at home, then we beat South Carolina on the road. Then South Carolina beats the brakes off Texas A&M. We go into College Station. They beat the brakes off us. You guys lose to Alabama. Then you go beat the piss out of Texas in Austin
Yep.
when Texas was looking like gangbusters. Then you can't even move the ball against Ole Miss
Yeah.
in Oxford. And the other thing is too, like you were talking about Jackson Darden. Yeah, his numbers may not look that impressive,
But he looked
but what I
great.
noticed, they kept converting on third down.
Yep. Every time we couldn't get off the
It
field, we were
was you couldn't
tired.
get off the field. And so, like these little ways here, this way or that way, whatever it took. Sometimes it was a penalty. Sometimes it was, a well-designed run play. Sometimes it was just enough yardage on a little dump off or whatever. Um, but they continually they kept their explosive offense out there on the field, and they did make some explosive plays because, like you said, the receivers were wide open. But they kept Carson Beck from really being able to get into a rhythm and,
No.
and Georgia's offense from being able to sustain anything because of that defensive front
And then
seven
yeah.
and their secondary. Trey Amos, when he was in, I think he missed like one play and you guys didn't take advantage of it. And then he
Yeah.
came right back in
No, we even
at,
had long drives that turned into nothing.
mhm.
We had long. It's the worst part. Is like we had some long possessions in that game that still ended up with 0 points. Like
Well,
when all was said
you
and done, like
you were this close that first drive, not
I
producing
know,
points.
I know. That's what I mean. And I thought that was the right move, by the way. When we
Yeah.
went 4-on-4, I'm like, listen,
Mhm.
the worst comes to worst, we give it to the backup. And that's the other thing is I talk about the chunk playability. There was
Mhm.
one time where we started Ole Miss on their half-inch line, and within 3 plays, we're at the 50.
Yep.
Like, and we just let that happen.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know if you want to blame the weather, like our guys couldn't
Mhm.
keep up, but we have an SEC secondary. We
Yeah.
have Malachi Starks. We have Jalen Walker. We have Dalen Everett. We have Dawgs all over the field.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, we just like it's like all of a sudden, like yes, the Ole Miss receivers are fast and good, but they literally were open by 15 yards.
Mhm.
They literally could stop where they wanted to, turn around, say, "Hey, I'm open."
Right.
Get the ball and then turn around and keep running. Like it didn't have to catch it in stride. They literally could stand still and wait for the ball and still be ready to move. Like it just wasn't a good day. It wasn't Carson
No.
Beck's fault. I think it was our inability to block and just move the ball downfield. Like we were so stagnant, and it was and our inability to make any real stops on defense.
Mhm.
We pretty much let them do what they wanted
Yeah.
most of the time. That's really what it
Yeah.
came. It was the trenches that we kind of lost in, which is so sad for a Kirby Smart team because it like never happened.
Yeah, well, and it was especially evident in the fourth quarter because
Yeah.
the inability to stop them and get off the field so that you could stay in the game and keep it at a two-score game when it was two scores, keep
Yep.
it at a one-score game when it was one score.
Yeah.
It was just like they kept being able to
We hung in
get
until we couldn't anymore. Like we
right,
like
and then
yeah.
when you had the ball, I don't know, the last two possessions, it's like Carson Beck couldn't even get rid of the ball. He was getting sacked and fumbling the ball in the backfield because they were in your kitchen all night
Yeah, we were
in that
down. We
fourth
were
quarter.
down six like at one point. Like it
Hmm.
was it wasn't. We were like you said. We were down within a score at one point. We never could find our way back. Like it just like 6 points might as well have been like 3 touchdowns. Like that's like the way. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you
Yeah,
feel like we're moving down the field and going nowhere at the same time.
It's like when you're up against a dominant ace and you're down by
Yeah,
two. You're down 2-0, but it
yeah,
feels like it's 14-0
right.
because you can't get a guy on base, let
That's
alone
how the
get a run
Phillies
home.
batting feels all the time.
So now it looks like the collision course is over, unless some miracle happens. We'll get into how that miracle scenario could happen in our LSU Alabama episode, but there's a very small outside chance that these two teams could potentially meet in the playoff. It's very slim to none. But Georgia, look, the reality of the matter is your saving grace is that win in Austin,
Hmm.
where you have now set yourselves up to, if you can just take care of business the rest of the way, beat Tennessee, you all of a sudden are right back into that conversation for
Yep.
one of those, maybe even hosting
Yeah.
a college football playoff game in the first round. So what's your outlook on, are there some things that give you concern that they may not be fixable, or do you think this is because this is just bizarre to see a Kirby Smart coached team have the issues, like you had the issues against Kentucky, you
Yeah.
had the issues against Mississippi State, you had the issues against Florida last week. Now you finally played a team that's capable of actually beating you when you make those kinds of mistakes.
Yeah. It's just like
And
holes. I don't know what it is. It's like we have holes all over the field. Like it's not our typical. It's so weird because like they've showed I've never seen a team show what they can do and then not do it all the time.
mm,
Like the defense that showed up at Austin, I haven't seen them before or since.
mm,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like the
Well,
defense, I literally had Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning sitting on the bench going like, "What the hell?" Like there might as well be
mhm,
22 guys out there. I have not seen that defense before or since.
mm, that's a good point.
Our offensive productivity, I feel like you said before, it was just like we're literally giving the other team extra possessions. But like this time, like I mean, we still were. We fumbled the ball like 4 times. Like
Yeah.
it's just causing turnovers, like and not paying off drives. I've once again, I've never felt a way where it's like, okay, we got the ball back, but doesn't really matter. Like, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? I've never felt that way in a long time since before like we won the national championship. Like,
Well, so about the national championship stuff, like, so you have this run of just dominant play, and the only team you've lost to is Alabama in 4 years, and you have this long regular season winning streak and multiple national championships. You win a back to back. You're this close to go into the. If there was a 12-team playoff last year, you guys would have been in it. Probably win it all. At least very possibly win it all. Is some of what we're seeing like a complete, because you said that, I only say that because of what you said about the difference between how they played against Texas
yeah,
versus how they have played in every game before and after that one.
yeah.
Is it a, like a complacency almost, of like they expect that it's just theirs, like an entitlement almost, or
Before
am I oversimplifying it?
before Texas, I would have said yes.
Hmm.
Because like before Texas, like it would be like it was like we couldn't do the basic things right.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would have said yes, but then like we showed up to Texas and like we're saying like why not us? Like we're here. Like
Hmm.
at this point, other than
Yeah,
like
that's
some
that's
like
what I'm saying, is that
like
like that finally, the inconsistency of that motivation, like
yeah,
when they had kind of a chip on their shoulder, the loss to Alabama, that was a
yeah.
proving
I
moment.
would have said yes. I would have said
Okay.
yes before Texas. Now I don't know if it's just still like maybe we aren't as good as we thought. And like we're
Okay.
having to kind of come to terms with that. Like maybe, like we've had like the blessing of media hype that we haven't had since before 2021. Like we're getting
Right.
the grace of the
Okay.
media always saying that hey, you're still good. You're still good. Like you should remember that you're still good. Are
Hmm.
we? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I like it's almost coming to the terms that we might not be as good as everybody thinks. Like we haven't played like it. Like
Hmm.
we only played like it one time. Like so at a and we've only played well one time and have
Right.
only lost twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Well,
we've
yeah.
only
So
played
it's
one
like,
complete game. So it's
yeah,
I
you,
don't know. It's a little bit complacency I would have said at the beginning of the season. But at this point, there's no excuse as to why we shouldn't be playing our asses off. I didn't see a lack of effort this time around. I just think that we got
you got
bullied.
you
We
got
got
big
whooped.
Yeah,
We
you
got
got
sunned in the
you got
trenches.
big times.
We got
Yeah,
big times in the trenches, which never happens.
yeah. Okay.
Like,
Well, yeah, that makes more sense. And then yeah, so like the way the media was looking at it is like Georgia is a national championship
yeah,
contender
there's
until
Carson Beck was
proven
a
otherwise.
preseason Heisman winner, and like,
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
right.
Like,
Yeah, until proven otherwise, they're a national championship contender.
we
And
got the Alabama grace, and we fumbled it.
mhm,
Essentially, we got
mhm,
the preseason. What do they say about Ohio State, Alabama, and them every year? Oh, they're going to be great no matter what. And
right.
exactly, innocent until proven guilty. So good until
Mhm,
we show us otherwise. And right now, we're showing people that we, unfortunately, and I hate saying it, we might not be as good as we thought. Like we have a
and
lot of
so
holes that we have had a hard time overcoming. We still see people dropping the ball. Transfer
mhm.
guys that we brought in. Jurasic can never see the field again if I have anything to say about it.
Uh-oh.
Like, good lord. The transfer kid from Stanford, that
Yeah.
nerd who cannot catch a football. Get him out of there. I'm sorry.
Harsh words. Harsh
I'm
words.
sorry. It's just like Carson literally split two defenders and hit that guy in the face and he just dropped the ball. Like which would have converted us, I think, on third down. Like
Yeah.
that's why I'm pissed. Like shit like that. But that's kind of how I feel, Chad. Like, yes, I think in the front half of the season, and what pisses me off is half the guys on the team don't know what it's like to win a national championship. So why are they acting like that?
Mhm,
That's what
mhm.
makes me. That's and like you said, a Kirby Smart doesn't let guys think that.
Right.
He won't will not allow it. Even when we were winning, he won't allow you to feel
That's
that way.
that's what's unsettling about it
Yeah,
for me is it's like, what's going on, man? And
like
I
Kirby
realize like,
will beat that out of you, like almost no pun
yeah.
intended.
Well, and I will say this, like this is it's so much more. We've talked about it before, but I think more so this year, it's evident than ever before that the SEC is about as close to the NFL as you can get, where you've seen it all the time, where
Yeah,
a team is, 7-0 and they're playing at home. Like Detroit in that Sunday night game,
yep,
Detroit is like a juggernaut, and they let Houston come within a breath of. I mean, Houston was beating the pants off of them,
yeah,
and they they slowly found their way to come back. But it's that sort of thing where the parity that exists, the game is won on these little margins of 2, 3, 5%, and it seems like it can look like a blowout when really what it is it's like 10 or 12 plays where there was a slight advantage that was taken,
hmm
and those are the plays that determine a winner and a loser. I look at the way LSU played against Ole Miss and I say the same thing, like we should have lost that game, but we didn't because there were those handful of plays. Trey Harris dropping an 81-yard touchdown pass, um, a missed field goal here, a fumble late in the half there, a fumble right after, or a pick right after a pick. So like we throw a pick, Jackson Dart
yep,
immediately throws a pick right back to us. So that kind of thing where you you have these little marginal plays where it's 50-50 or 55-45, and where you should have that 55-45 advantage, that 45 actually hits and it goes the other way, and that
yep.
happens enough times. See,
Like, comment,
everything you say is
subscribe.
true. Yes, comment, share, subscribe. It's the South End Zone, and we are going to continue with our LSU Alabama preview, or not preview, but our autopsy
One
later on
thing,
in the week. Yeah,
one
go
thing.
ahead. Yeah.
Ole Miss.
Mhm.
Do you have that much FOMO that you felt the need to rush the field and tear down your old goalpost to get us? Are you kidding? Why has that become as like it happens like 10 times a
It's
year?
just a thing.
Like we
Yeah,
haven't
people.
seen people rush the field. Like we see that maybe once
Mhm.
every other season in college football.
Mhm.
Now you were 2-point underdogs at
Right,
home. Like
right, right.
congratulations. Like oh my god. Like I know that
Look,
that was like,
man.
and you know what? Now we now validated Lane Kiffin's whole career.
Yeah,
We finally gave him the win
he
that he
finally won.
needed.
He finally won a big game.
Yeah, we finally gave Lane Kiffin the thing to validate his entire career. So that's awesome for us. But
Yeah.
yeah, give
Speaking
me
of
a break.
validating
We're
things,
like, give me a break.
yeah, he finally won a big game, and we're gonna talk about what happened in the other big matchup from this past weekend in our next episode. Make sure to come back for that. Don't forget again to like, to share, to subscribe. We appreciate y'all coming through. This is the South End Zone. I'm Chad. He's Tyler. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.